Welcome to The Explainer. I am so excited you're here with us today because honestly, we've got a fascinating theme that connects some of the absolute biggest stories happening right now. We are talking about movement, but not just physical movement, right? We're going to explore how different types of movement, from explosive, game-changing plays on the sports field to massive shifts in our legal courts, all the way to the rhythms and music that bring our communities together, how all of that is actively shaping power, politics, and healing in Southern California and honestly, way beyond. Okay, let's dive right into this. So what exactly connects a blockbuster NFL trade, a Supreme Court ruling, and hip-hop? Well, that's exactly what we're going to answer today as we look at how movement shapes our world. Section 1. Power moves on the field. The Rams' blockbuster trade. Let's kick things off with physical power on the gridiron. The Rams just made one of the absolute biggest moves of the NFL offseason. I mean, wow. They acquired the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. And in exchange, the Browns received the 2024 Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse, plus a massive haul of future draft picks, extending all the way out to 2029. Think about that for a second. Some of the players traded for Garrett might literally be in middle school right now. The Rams are basically sacrificing their distant future for a massive push at a Super Bowl run today. So you might be wondering, why give up so much? Well, take a look at this number right here, 23. Now, this isn't just any random number. It represents Myles Garrett's historic 2025 single-season sack record. He actually surpassed absolute legends like Michael Strahan and T.J. Watt. This single number shows exactly why he's considered one of the league's most dominant defensive players, for sure. He brings this intense level of physical power and explosive movement to the defensive line that very few in the history of the sport can even match. And Garrett himself, he knows exactly what he brings to the table. At his introductory press conference, he confidently stated, "I still have plenty of great years in front of me." Even as he turns 31 during the season, his confidence sends a really clear message. The Rams believe their championship window is wide open right now, and this power move officially puts the rest of the league on notice. Section 2. The fight for political power. Reshaping the Voting Rights Act. Shifting gears from the football field to the courtroom, let's look at a different kind of movement, the fight for political power. For decades, the legal standard under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act focused on discriminatory impact, which basically meant maps could be challenged if the end result weakened minority representation. However, as Voting Rights Counsel Mitchell Brown points out, the new standard requires proof of intentional discrimination. Advocates are noting that this means having to find a literal smoking gun. Because legislators can now use race-neutral language to draw these maps, civil rights groups face a much higher legal bar to prove discrimination in court. And crucially, this doesn't just affect the big players in Washington, D.C. These weakened protections could impact an incredibly wide range of local offices. We are talking about your congressional districts, state legislatures, your local school boards, county commissions, and local judgeships. Voting rights advocates warn that these are the exact bodies determining your local funding priorities, your public safety, and your kids' education standards. So changes here, they could directly impact your community's day-to-day life. And we're actually already seeing the immediate consequences of this unfold. Take Louisiana, for example. Proposed redistricting changes there would suddenly reduce representation from 2 majority Black congressional districts down to just 1. According to Public Service Commissioner Devontae Lewis, this rapid, unprecedented shift led to the immediate suspension of 42,000 ballots that were already cast. That creates a massive amount of confusion and, frankly, chaos for voters on the ground. To truly understand the gravity of all this, advocates like Amir Badat and Jerome Detess trace the issue all the way back through history. Look at this timeline. In the late 1800s, post-Civil War Reconstruction expanded citizenship and voting rights. But moving into the early to mid-1900s, we saw the rise of Jim Crow laws, which used race-neutral restrictions, things like literacy tests, to suppress votes. Fast forward to 2026, present day, and advocates are drawing direct parallels between that post-Reconstruction era and the new Supreme Court standard. They argue that the mechanics of power are essentially moving backward, utilizing very similar methods of disenfranchisement. Section 3. Moving for mental health, combating the loneliness epidemic. Okay, so we've looked at shifting political power in the courts. Now let's explore how state leaders are leveraging physical movement to combat a silent, growing crisis. Take a second to really absorb this statistic. 17.2%. According to the Public Policy Institute of California, that is the percentage of California adolescents currently experiencing chronic loneliness. It is a startling number, and it's becoming increasingly linked to anxiety, depression, and poor overall health outcomes among our youth. When we dig a bit deeper into the data, the reality becomes even more sobering. Between 218,000 and 291,000 Black children in California face severe loneliness or mental health challenges. Researchers point out that this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's driven by deep systemic barriers, like generational poverty, and it's exacerbated by neighborhood instability and the lingering, heavy effects of historical racism. There is an absolute, urgent need here for culturally responsive care and solutions that reach these communities directly. So what's the solution? Well, state leaders, including First Partner Jennifer Siebel Newsom, are championing movement and mindfulness initiatives. This involves super accessible activities. We're talking soccer matches, boxing, Afro-yoga, dance, and meditation. The overall goal here is to set a totally new standard where regular physical exercise is seen as an absolute essential component of mental health rather than just some luxury. It's really about using the simple act of moving your body to calm your mind and, importantly, build social connections. And this brings us to a really vital concept, play equity. As defined by Renata Simrel of the LA84 Foundation, play equity is the core belief that every single child deserves access to sports and physical activity, completely regardless of their race, gender, zip code, or socioeconomic status. This specific concept is the driving force behind California's newly signed Youth Sports for All Act. It's about recognizing that the most powerful tools we have for connection and healing, whether that's a soccer ball, a local playground, or a dance floor, should be basic infrastructure available to every single community. Section 4. The Healing Power of Music, Honoring Black Artists and Sound. Building on that idea of the dance floor as a place of healing, let's bridge from youth sports to the profound emotional healing of cultural movements. Recently, the music world lost a true pioneer. We remember Rob Base, who passed away at age 59. His 1988 platinum anthem, It Takes Two, was an absolute phenomenon, right? It blended hip-hop and house music, becoming the ultimate soundtrack to block parties and cookouts, while effortlessly crossing right over into the mainstream. Rob Base didn't just make hits, the guy moved culture, proving that hip-hop could fill dance floors all across the world. The impact of artists like Rob Base is actually part of a much larger, deeply powerful history. Dr. Monica Soni, who has covered California's chief medical officer, beautifully maps out this timeline of Black music for us. Back in the 1800s, spirituals carried vital messages of hope and survival. In the early 1900s, blues and jazz emerged as these incredible expressions of resilience and sheer creativity. During the 1950s and 60s, civil rights freedom songs provided unity and courage. And from the 1980s to the present, genres like hip-hop, rap, and funk have served as vehicles for empowerment, resistance, and healing. Basically, music has evolved as this powerful restorative tool to help communities communicate and heal, especially when their voices were otherwise being silenced. Just look at this beautiful quote from jazz legend Herbie Hancock. Music is the tool to express life and all that makes a difference. I mean, that perfectly synthesizes Dr. Soni's message, doesn't it? Whether you're listening to jazz or hip-hop or Moroccan mornings, music helps us balance the crazy ups and downs of daily life. It gets our bodies in motion and it keeps us moving forward, together. Well, we have definitely covered a lot of ground today. We've seen how a football franchise moves to secure physical dominance, how shifting legal standards move the very boundaries of our political representation, and how physical exercise and the powerful rhythms of music can move our minds and our bodies toward healing. So I'm going to leave you with this one question. How will you use movement to empower yourself and heal your community today? Thanks for checking out The Explainer, and we'll see you next time.